Dave Johnson from REI, sales lead for camping, climbing, and snow sports. I'm going to show you how to put a fly on a backpacking tent. There's two sides to the fly. You want to put the shiny side on the inside. Most tents will have two doors if it's a two-person tent. And the first time is always kind of interesting until you figure out the layout of the fly itself. An example here, I put this fly on this way. We need to reverse it because this tent is not a perfectly rectangular tent, so one side is going to be wider at one end and narrower at the other end. So I'm going to rotate this fly around to get it on the tent properly. Your colors on your fly. There's also a tab on each end, and this clips in. So you do your fly on both. Clip. Look at the other end, color coded. This is gray on this end, so their gray goes on to that end. If it's a perfectly rectangular tent, it's not going to be color coded. Then you tighten, once those four corners are on, you can tighten the tent down just by pulling the tabs. And then at this point you can stake your tent out using the cord that comes with the tent, whether it's cord or nylon. This one has nylon straps. Then to guy it out, a lot of people will wonder how to work your guy points. This particular tent here has a little locking mechanism in there, so when you have this staked out, it will lock into place, and then you can tighten that as you need to. And that locks into place there. So it holds it solid. That keeps the fly away from the tent. You don't want your fly to ever touch the tent. Otherwise condensation will rain in on you in the night. There's your vestibules. You have, most tents will have a fly that has a vestibule, and that is an open area out in front of the tent door that will, and that just slides into there to keep that taut. And with this particular tent, you can stake out one side, since I don't have it staked out very well there. There we go. So you can stake out one side. That lets you open one side of the door. If you want to do the other side, you can stake this side out and open the other side of the door, whichever door you want to open. Your door staying open with a bit of a vestibule there. Always put your tent's stakes at a slant away from your tent. Never like that. Always put it like that. You get a better purchase in the ground, much more stability, and then you can put the stake in as far as you can into the ground as you need to. You have extra guy points, so say if it's very windy or stormy, it gives you some extra guy points here to apply to the tent to help give it more stability. So you can leave those on the tent. If you're not going to use them, if you're going to use them, just take them apart as such. And again, ideally, these should be put lot of people think that you would need to do this out this way. Ideally, it's recommended that you use your 2 guide points and put those together. You need less stakes doing it this way. Put your guide point out here. Use that side there. Roughly about the same way. Keep your tent stable in that direction there. When you put your fly on, you want to make sure you stake out your fly, not only the doors, but also both ends of the fly itself, so that it's not touching the tent.
What happens if the rain fly is touching the tent?
That moisture from the inside of the tent over the night will come in contact with the tent itself and leak into the tent, and then it'll be kind of raining on you. So you don't want that. By keeping the distance, the fly away from the tent, you increase that circulation to help get rid of that condensation that is built up. It's invariably, any tent, anything's going to happen because of the body does expel moisture. There's no way around that. That's part of the deal of camping. So by having that ventilation open, that will help eliminate that. A lot of tents will have extra points here to increase that ventilation. This, by having ventilation on top here, say if it's really rainy, but not hot, not cold out, open up your ventilation this way here. The rain's not going to come in that way, but it's going to help that circulation is going to help eliminate that. So you have your tent fly on your tent, and it maybe rains a little bit, and you notice that your fly is not as tight. Just go back down to all your corner points and tighten up your corner points all the way around the tent. And that brings your tent tight enough.